Rev up your engines!
Jesse 747400 says, Scotty, are Walmart tires good? Particularly the General brand. You got to check something on tires. You know what that is? Where are the things made? You got to check where they're made. If they're made in China, my advice, don't buy the things. The quality control there is terrible for tires. So if they're made in China, don't buy them. Look on it. By law, they got to say on a tire somewhere where they're made. They say made in China, don't buy them. Buy somewhere else. They don't make them that well. I accidentally got a set of tires. I thought they were good tires because they had a good name, but it were made in China. And my wife kept getting flat tires. And then I finally looked at the fine print, said made in China. I threw them all off and I put on some good rich tires, and I never had problems with them getting flats anymore. So Tempo says, knowing the fact that 1.5 turbo Honda engines have issues, is a Honda CRV with a 2.4 engine still good? Yes. If I was going to buy a CRV, that's what I would buy. They're good cars. Those are tried and true engines that go. Toyota and Lexus, they've got a few turbos, but they're not pushing it. They're not pushing the turbos that much. And I think they're making a smart move not pushing the turbos all that much. You're going to have problems. Things are going to wear out faster. Honda's got a bad reputation with these engines now for the oil dilution problem. Toyota doesn't. People are going to gravitate more towards Toyota if Honda has those problems. Toyota made a smart move there, and Honda made a mistake. New 188, 2010 Ford Focus SE, 2.0, 170,000 miles. I notice the car is getting warmer as I drive around town. If you find that you're driving around town and the temperature gauge is getting warmer than it used to, but you go on a highway and it runs exactly the same, then odds are your cooling fans aren't working right. Have them tested out. It could be the cooling fan. It could also be that you're low on coolant, because when you're low on coolant and you're just driving in town, you need really efficient when you're just driving in town. Stop and go, stop and go. But when you're going 60 miles an hour on a highway, you got 60 mile an hour wind. So even if you're low on coolant, you got so much wind blowing through that the radiator works okay. So those basically are the two main things that you'd want to check on that. Marcus Johnson says, hey Scotty, is a 2015 Lexus NX200T a good vehicle to buy? I like Lexuses, but the problem is that's a 4-cylinder one with the turbocharger. But, you know, that's only a 4-year-old vehicle. Who knows what the future's going to bring? You got a turbocharged engine, they generally wear out faster. Now, I've driven them, I liked them. My wife liked riding around in them when I'd road test them, and she said, gee, that's nice. But she did say, I like my old 18-year-old V6 Lexus better. Change the oil a lot. You got a 4-cylinder turbo engine. Don't listen to what anybody says. I would change the oil every 5,000 miles using full synthetic oil. Elude Romero, Scotty, I got an 03 Chrysler Town & Country. 189,000 miles, has a coolant leak, but don't want to put another radiator on it if it's that age. Should I just fix it or get rid of it? Okay, well, I can get a radiator for one of those things for about $100. They make them in China. They work perfectly fine. Watch my video on how to replace radiators. Maybe put a radiator on it yourself. What the heck? There's nothing wrong with doing that, you know? As for the rest of the vehicle, yeah, they're endless money pits. It's a 17-year-old Chrysler Town & Country van. One of the biggest money pit vans ever made in the history of mankind. So you might just fix it and get rid of it. Mark 2018 says, Scotty, there's small rust spots in body panels in my car. Will it spread? Well, of course it will. Rust is like cancer. Once it starts spreading, and mostly it goes from the inside out. So once you see those rust holes, that part has to be completely either cut off, drilled out so that it's bare metal around it, and then filled with fiberglass and stuff, filler, and then shined again and filler until it looks perfect if you really want a perfect job. Or if it's one particular fender, just rip the fender out, put another fender on and have it painted. That's the only way you can fix it. Now, if you don't want to keep the car long, you could do Bondo and stuff over the top of it and paint it and leave it be. It'll come rusting through in a year or 2 or 3 for sure. That's just how rust is. Don't think there's a magic thing where you can fix rust by covering it up. It's still going to be rusted inside. Man, he says, I want to get a 66 Imperial or 76, 78 Lincoln Continental Town Car as a daily driver. One, I think you're crazy. Because those are old cars. Now, even a 78 Lincoln, that's a really old car, and a 66 Chrysler Imperial is even older. Those old cars are not really made for daily drivers. They're so old, unless they've been completely done over. Because, I mean, you got something as dumb as the rear main oil seal, a little bitty thing in the back of the engine to keep the oil from coming out the back where the flywheel is, right? Well, that's going to be rotten in any car unless the whole engine's done over. And you got to pull the transmission of the engine out to replace it. And there's lots of parts like that in old cars. cars. They don't make good daily drivers unless you're buying one that's been completely done over and everything with the engine, transmission, brakes, hoses, everything possibly going wrong. And most guys don't do that. And the guys that do generally, they don't use them as daily drivers, they use them as show cars. I've had customers that tried that daily drivers and they all kicked themselves years later. They said, we'd never do it again. Paul Bednar says, Scotty, I've been a technician for over 40 years and basically telling the same stories I hear on your channel. It's pretty funny. Some people listen and don't learn anything. Well, that's not surprising these days. A lot of people, they don't listen to anything. They don't listen to what people are telling them. They don't listen to advice from experts. It's just like in one ear and out the other. You've been working on this almost as long as me, 40 years. I've been doing it 51. My whole thing is, I just tell the truth to people. And if it goes in one ear and out the other, too bad. Like last year, I told this guy who was a young lawyer, kind of explained a lot. And I said, whatever you do, don't go out and buy a Jaguar. Well, he went out and bought a Jaguar, and guess what? The thing's falling apart on him. And he's whining when I tell him what it costs to fix these things. He really made a mistake. He bought a used Jaguar. Be honest and help people. If they don't listen, well... So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.